Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Yikes. I turned 30, so that's a thing that happened. I feel like before I turned 30, like when I turned 29, I definitely felt more like the clock of time is running out and I'm going to die any second now. But then when I turned 30, it was kind of like, well, who cares? Not in a shitty way. Like, I'm excited. I'm proud of myself. I never really thought I'd, not to be corny or like, I'm not trying to be cool when I say this, but like, part of me never really thought I'd make it to 30. Uh, just certain things that happened in my life, I was like, oh yeah, I'll definitely not get there. But I did, which is great. Super psyched about that. But like not just people who think they're cuckoo, but like I feel like anyone turning 30 is like this big milestone, the end of your 20s and all that stuff. And my 20s were great. I had so much fun in my 20s, made plenty of mistakes, achieved plenty of great, awesome things. And, so 30 creeps up and it's like, wow, that's a number, man. Um, but once it finally got here, I feel like I was less anxious about it than I was about 29 because I don't know. Once it's there, I feel like I just realized nothing has changed other than for the better now that I'm 30. So it's like, whatever. Fine. I don't know. Like, sick. That's fine. I'm 30 now. Who cares? So that's sick. And I also, I must say, though, it's easy for me to say now because my life's in a really good spot. So if my life was where it was a year ago and I turned 30, I don't know if I'd feel the same way. But it is what it is. My life's pretty great right now, and I turned 30, and who cares? Part of me feels like, as an artist, I should like hide my age and not be 30. That's the one thing is like music tends to be a young person's game, but then you look at like all these other artists that have been winning awards and like just really starting to pop are older than I am, and I've been in rooms recently, studio, whatever, sessions with people who like I'm still the youngest one, which is I wouldn't have thought it'd be that way, but it is that way. So who cares, man? 30 it is. 30 and embracing it. I hate myself. So that's the thing. Yeah, 30. It was cool. I didn't really do much for my birthday. I went out to breakfast with my boy, my homie, and that was nice. And then, how about this, actually? Bought a scratch off ticket. Birthday's on the 7th. I bought the one that had sevens on it. I never buy scratch offs. Won $300. I was like, fuck it. I'm going to dinner. Took myself out to dinner. Had a little bit of a night by myself, which was cool. Went around to like every place I've ever lived in LA, like a moment of reflection. Sometimes I hear myself say stuff and I'm like stuck right in between being like, you're the corniest, lamest person ever. And then the other part of me is like, it's kind of beautiful the way you think, man. You never change. Like, cause I like being sentimental. I get something out of it. And like, I think it's cool to appreciate all the little things, although maybe I latch on to some of them a little too much. But then part of me is like, dude, who are you? Who do you think you are? I am. Like who? I don't know. Like I'm a 30-year-old. I'm stuck in between being like a former jock who loves sports and is like, don't be a bitch, and like all this stuff, and like a struggling like what's the word, like a twisted tragic artist who like to his core loves creation and the earth and the world and like take care of your brain. I'm right in the middle, and sometimes it like I think that's part of what my anxiety comes from, because like sometimes I wish I just liked one thing, but I like so much stuff and I want to fill my life with as much as possible. I love variety. I love trying new stuff, and like I've always been had an adventurous mind, but I feel like it pushes me into like creepy, weird places that my mind doesn't need to go and I don't get anything from. So it like comes with a huge drawback of that side of things where it's like I don't need to be pondering like existence while I'm around other people. Like while I'm in a room full of other people, in my head I'm like, where are we? Not like where are we, like where is this room? Where is this building? Where is this house? Where is this establishment? Where, like, I'm in Los Angeles. I mean, where are we as in like where are we? Like in Earth and like or in space and where's the universe and where are we like on the timeline of like eternity, you know? But this is all happening while everyone else in the room is like having a normal conversation. And so I'm just in my head, like not being able to control going to those places mentally while still trying to put on this frontward facing, that's how you say that, frontward facing like persona of like, I got it all together. I'm totally fine and not thinking crazy shit right now. That's been something I've been dealing with quite a bit. And it's been really frustrating for me because in all professional aspects and in most of my personal aspects of my life have been the best they've ever been. But my anxiety really truly feels like it's the worst it's ever been. And I want to like explain this a little better. Like I'm not I don't play the victim to things I've been through and like poor me. I try my absolute best not to do that, which is what makes it even more frustrating for me when I know I have nothing in the present to be absolutely panicking about in my head, but like my nervous system just won't slow down. Like it's just rapid fire constantly. Like sometimes I literally feel like I can feel my skin crawl just because I can't like slow down my body and my brain, and like I feel like I can feel every molecule in me just like vibrating like with anxiety, and it's like I don't want to feel like this. I know my life's in a good spot. Like I express gratitude for all the things I have as much as I can. I try my best to slow it all down as much as I can, but still even in like an environment where like this is my favorite thing in the world, my head is just rapid fire snare drum thoughts of like the worst stuff possible. And it sucks. It's like I it scares me because I know that letting my brain operate that way is like a waste of my life. And so as much as I don't feel a rush to do anything anymore, which is really nice. Whereas before I like always thought like my time's going to run out eventually to pursue my dreams. Like, no, this is my life. My life is eternally going to be me pursuing my dreams, and there's going to be ups and downs, and it is what it is. I've embraced that, and that's cool. But I have this new fear of like, yeah, but what's all of that for? What's that cool mindset of like, I'm down to struggle and do what I got to do to get what I want? What is that worth if I'm not enjoying any of it because I'm just panicking in my head about nothing? That's what a huge misunderstanding I think people who don't have never experienced chronic anxiety don't understand. It's not like people are like, wow, my problems, oh, I'm so sad. It's not like, like all this stuff I'm dealing with, I just can't handle it. It's not really that at all. I'm not having a single conscious thought of any of the things that a normal person would be anxious about. It's not, none of it is like, what do I have to get done today? Or like, oh no, this happened to someone I know. It's not that. I'm not thinking about any of that. I'm not thinking about anything. I just feel anxious. And is it possible that some of it is that stuff in my subconscious, like bubbling up, and my body is eliciting a reaction to the fact that it's not on the top of my head or it's being suppressed? Maybe. But that's where it starts to get a little creepy feeling, and like it's a little bit frightening because it's like I'm not worried about anything in particular. I just feel like I have to be worried. And like I'm not worrying about anything, so what am I worrying about? It doesn't make any sense. It's so frustrating to try to explain it and try to overcome something that's almost inexplicable. And I think I've read more and more about it. It's like it's a form of OCD. It's not, OCD is not what you necessarily think of like you have to touch the light switch 3 times, because it's like a tick almost for you to have to feel like you have to do that. OCD can also manifest itself in like thought process and like thought patterns. And so I'll get stuck in a train of thought about something I do not want to think about. It could be something I've been through, it could be something I've done in my life, it could be any of those types of things, or it could be a random terrible thing that just pops into my head and I can't get rid of it. And it's one thing to be alone and be like, that's weird, and like keep doing what you got to do, and maybe even let your brain go there a little further. But when you're with people, you feel like an alien of like, I want to be not thinking about this, but I can't stop thinking about this. And I'm not in an environment where like I can freak out. And it's not that I want to freak out, but sometimes you feel like you might freak out because of all the stuff that's going through your head. And like, I don't want to be thinking about this shit at all when I'm trying to just live my life and enjoy my life and do the things I want to do. And that's the thing. I understand when I was working a job I didn't want to be working, or not in a place in my, my life, my dreams, all that stuff that I wanted to be. But now I am. And it's like, why am I still dealing with this stuff? I should just be happy. And it's such a struggle. It's like, why is it so hard to be happy? And again, I'm not someone that plays the victim. Like, I know how good I have it. Does not like escape my mind at any moment. I know how lucky and blessed I am for everything that I have, all the opportunities I've gotten in my life, all that stuff. But like, that doesn't take away from how I feel. And I don't want to feel this way. I just do. So it's hard for someone who's like, I'm critical of myself and I hold myself to a high standard in a lot of ways, and mentally is another way I hold myself to a high standard. It's like, I want to be mentally strong, I want to be willing and able to like be there for people, do the right thing, all that stuff. And somehow still I can't get rid of this side of my brain, and I don't even know if I should get rid of it, cuz like then the whole thing of being an artist comes in, where it's like, I know a lot of my, especially lyrics, but anything that I make musically is coming from my brain, and me tapping into whatever creative source that I'm tapping into, and it's coming from my perspective. And I think the music I make is beautiful, and I want to continue to make the music the way I make music. But like, I also hate living in this head sometimes. So it's like, if I eliminate that completely, will it destroy the one thing that means more to me than anything else? Or if I eliminate it, will it improve it? And I'm kind of just using that as a crutch to not change, even though I want to change. It's not like I'm resistant to changing the way I think. I want to change the way I think. I don't know. These are the things that go through my head all the time, and I don't know the answer. That's one of my resistance. To be fully transparent, I know I've talked about it before. I was on antidepressants for years, and generally speaking, looking back on it now that my anxiety is the worst it's ever been, I can say they absolutely did help me. But there were negative side effects to it that I don't want to deal with again. And one of them is like, there's a certain just spark you lose. And at least for me, and especially as an artist who holds like, it sounds pretentious, but like, the way I view art and the way I view music is very sacred, and it's so part of me and my soul, and I try my best to like rip it out of me and make it into like a living, breathing song. And that song is a reflection of where I was at in that moment that I wrote it or recorded it or made it, whatever. Because I feel that way, like, I don't want that part of me to be sacrificed at all. But I also can't go on being this anxious, not in a like self-harm way. I can't, as in, I don't want to. Like, it's I'm at my wit's end with it. Like, I can't continue to feel this way. And having that thought's been helping me a little bit, of like, dude, I don't want to feel this way anymore. So like, maybe like ignorantly being like, I'm not doing it, man. I'm not doing it today. I'm not being anxious today. I'm just not doing it. Has kind of helped at times, one time or another. Doesn't change everything. But I don't know. I guess I'm trying to say is like I have been close recently to being like I have to get back on medication because I just can't like function day to day like this, and I don't want to do that. And the problem is like I know that that's like last in my head, especially having been on them for so long. That's absolute last resort. I don't want to do that. And not to scare anyone who's listening to this who takes them. Again, I am not against them fully. I think they can absolutely be a helpful tool, but it's all the other things that are really important too. The scary thing or the frustrating thing is I'm doing those things a lot. I work out regularly. I eat 95% super healthy. I drink a fair amount of water. Always could be more, but like I'm not dehydrated. Like I'm doing all the things that people suggest outside of medication. The one thing that I'm not currently doing that like this week I have to start because I truly can't go on like this. I have to start therapy. And I'm hoping like starting therapy and really working whatever system I come up with my therapist will eliminate the potential need to start taking medication again. Because I just don't want, again, I'm not against it. It's just, I feel like that's not the answer. And it's not like a magic bullet. I've tried to tell people this on the Discord channel as well. Like, I'm not against it. If your therapist or doctor says you should try, look into it, research it, do all the stuff you got to do, and then assess for yourself whether you think it's a good decision for you or not. But don't just think, I'm in a desperate, terrible, low place. Give me the pill. I just, I want to be saved. It's not going to do that for you. And now that I've taken them and not taken them, and I know that it's not going to fix everything for me, I'm resistant to starting it again. But I also know I was never this anxious while I was on medication. So it's like, what do you do? I don't know. I'm trying to like work through with my family, all that stuff. Again, I'm going to talk to a therapist. Maybe today, like maybe literally after I get done shooting this episode, I'm going to fucking call a therapist. Because it's just like, again, I just feel like I'm robbing myself of joy that I deserve. And it's not fair to me. Like, that's not cool. Why would I do that to myself? I'm not purposely doing it to myself. But right now, I don't feel in control of my head. And that's a bummer. And it really sucks. And the freaky, weird, scary part, and like maybe I should take this as like as a positive, but it's hard to. The freaky part of it is, even though my head is going insane, I'm still like performing professionally. Like, I'm still doing well musically. Like, I'm still making good music. I'm still like in studio sessions, writing sessions, all this stuff, like being there, but not, but all like, I don't know. Now I'm thinking about that. It's not entirely true because I leave sessions sometimes and I'm like, because I was anxious, I didn't offer myself as much as I could have. But I don't think other people would notice. You know what I mean? Like on a personal level, I know what I have to offer, and at the absolute minimum, I'm always going to give something of myself that other people wouldn't be like, what was that guy even here for? But I know that I can take it even further. But because I'm like having a fucking panic attack or feeling unbelievably depersonalized around other people, I'm like, I got to sit the next couple minutes out because I'm like grasping fucking my, sense of reality right now in a room of people, and it blows. It really stinks. So I have to start therapy. Excuse me if my voice is all of a sudden raspy. Hasn't been all day. Sick. Yeah, that's the that's been the number one thing for me recently, is just feeling really frustrated that so many of the things I've wanted for my life are happening for me right now, and I'm not enjoying them the way I should because I'm just constantly fired up with anxiety. And it's dreadful because I am hyper conscious of everything going on around me at all times. So I'm super aware that no one around me knows that I am having an absolute freak out panic attack in my head while still performing my duties of whatever it is in that given moment. and even saying a funny line to a person and being part of the conversation and, being like, oh, how about this lyric? And no one would know, but I'm freaking the fuck out. And it's like I've worked years and years and years to get to a position and like been blessed with incredible opportunities from and help along the way from many people. But like I have most proud of just I haven't given up to this point, and now finally stuff is starting to pay off. And it's like rather than it being like a weight off my shoulders, like, hey man, you're heading in the right direction. You did the damn thing. You're fucking on your way. It's like I'm doing it still, but I'm not enjoying a single second of it because, well, that's not entirely true. I'm not enjoying it nearly as much as I could or should because I'm literally questioning everything about my like consciousness mid pretending I'm just a normal person. And that's what I'm saying about being hyper aware of everything. Not only am I anxious for no reason, I'm just anxious. Sucks. Needed to end. But no one else knows around me, or no one else can notice because I don't want them to, because I want everything to be fine. But then there's a new layer of anxiety added because I'm like, holy shit, dude. They don't even know what you're going through in your head. That's crazy. Like, it's insane that you literally feel like at any time you could evaporate into thin air because you're tripping out that hard in your head for no reason. But you're so good at hiding it that no one else knows. And, like, that's a problem. You know what I mean? Because it's like, so that it adds like another layer on top of the fucking dread and worry of like, whoa, why? What the fuck is going on? And again, it's just overall, it's just a bummer because I do love myself. I care about myself greatly. I want myself to be happy and I want to achieve all the things I want in my life. But now that I'm starting to, I'm not as happy as I should be. And it's not about any one thing in particular. It's not like something happened in my day and then I go to the studio and I'm just dwelling on it. It's literally about nothing that's tangible and real. It's literally about reality itself, which is like, I don't want to care. I don't give a fuck. Who cares? I don't care what's really going on. It's so hard to explain, especially anyone listening with depersonalization. You get what I'm talking about. It's that thing, that constant like, whoa, man, whoa, whose hands are these? That's never a good question to be asking yourself while handing someone something in a professional setting. Like, that's weird shit. And I don't want to feel that way anymore, but currently I'm been struggling mightily with it. And sometimes I even wonder if like I'm down to share. I'm down to talk about it. I want to talk about it. I want to help other people. But sometimes I wonder if being hyper conscious of it and always talking about it just makes it worse. I know avoidance isn't a healthy coping mechanism for any issue you're dealing with in life, but I also know only thinking about it is not going to help me either. So sometimes I struggle with like, all right, the podcast is a cool idea. I want to help people and people seem to resonate with a lot of the things I have to say, but also like, am I doing this at a detriment to myself where like, what if I just ignored it as much as possible and let it just go away? I don't know. I don't know that that's the answer, but sometimes I wonder that. And, currently I don't feel that that's 100% the truth because I'm still going to do the podcast and it is what it is. I think, again, I just need to fucking start therapy. That's really the answer to all of these things. At least talk to someone else where they can be like, it's like I need someone to play the role in my, and I don't mean this badly to anyone who does this for me, but like I feel like I'm really good at helping other people. I'm really good at talking to other people about this kind of stuff. I need someone to do that for me. Because even though like I can break down all the answers to someone else, to apply them to my own life is way more difficult. And like I just need to talk to someone. Therapy is good. Therapy is cool. Therapy. You should go. Don't lie to yourself. therapy is good. I really gotta go. Therapy, BetterHelp should sponsor me, 'cause I need some money so I can even afford to break my brain in half. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Oh, Jezus Maria. My Polish grandma used to say that. I don't think it's actually Polish, but she used to say it. Yeah, the being in another room of people and like, I'm an artist. I want to give off a certain persona, a likable one, but one that is me being myself. I don't ever want to like change how I act or do anything to like fit what an artist should be. And I feel like I like artists who are like that too. And something that I keep experiencing that I can't fucking stand is the cool guy. No one is that person. That's not a real person. I hate people that just all the time, on that record, we just shut the fuck up. That's literally not a real person. You're just playing a character. And like, you can't keep up with that forever. I don't think. I mean, plenty of people try and have long, successful careers, and apparently it works. It's hard for me to accept that any human being actually is that guy or gal or person. There's just no way. I saw a performance recently, and I almost feel like I was going to get in trouble if I said too much. I don't want to say too much. Whatever. I came across, a person recently, an artist, incredibly talented, dope, really fucked with their art. But their whole demeanor of like, dude, that's not you. That's not anyone. No human being. Is that your inner monologue? Is your inner monologue talking to someone being like, yeah, that person was pretty cool? No, not possible. It's more likely like, hey, make sure you keep talking in that way that you came up with 10 years next and now most of the people you met in the next 10 years think that's who you are. That's fucking ridiculous. I understand like carrying yourself a certain way and maybe keeping certain things about yourself sacred that don't need to be shown to the world all the time. I don't do that. I say, fuck it, just this is me. But I understand some people having that point of view, but in general, who is that guy? Who are they? I don't know. All the people I keep close to me in my life, all my friends, my family, they're all normal people. But like, what is this weird charade of like fucking being too cool all the time? It's so corny and whack to me. You know why? I'm tired of anyone, but especially artists, trying to fool the audience. We know what you're doing. We know. It's obvious. It's clear. It's been done before. And it's worked for a lot of people. But also, at the same time, that's not a real human being. What the fuck is that character? Yeah. Even imitating it makes me want to evaporate into thin air and never formulate into molecules again. I hate that person. I don't hate anyone. Take it back. I don't hate anyone. I wish that person nothing but the best. I hope they find who they really are. But to me, to be that character has to be exhausting. Maybe I am completely wrong on this. Maybe that's who that person was. But to me, it's just someone who's not really in tune with who they really are, and they feel like they have to be this to be who they want to be. I feel like everyone is always doing an impression of someone, and it's either who they think they should be or who they think they want to be, and never who they actually are. And it's the dumbest thing in the world to me. It's too exhausting to keep up with. I can barely keep up with who I really am. Now I got to add a new thing on top of it to be like, I'm actually way cooler than I am. I actually only say cool stuff out loud. I say stupid shit out loud. I mean, I'm fucking talking, I'm making no sense 95% of the time. But like, whatever. At least I'm like a real dude, a real human. I hate anything that's artificial like that. I can't stand it. It makes me so angry. I put two fists up like this. That's how I feel, like this. Ricky Bobby style. Don't know what to do with my hands. I can't stand it. And just like it rubbed me the wrong way second one of like seeing this person. And it's just like, all right, I guess that's even an interview. Like I get slightly tweaking what you're putting forward as an artist to be like the optimized version for people to consume. I understand there's a certain game to it. I don't love it, but I understand. But like to be that way all the time to other people is just fucking weird shit to me. I don't get it. And again, who are you fooling? The audience knows. We all know. Like, we're people. We don't think like that. No one does. You're just lying to yourself. And so I guess some people are buying it. I don't know. It really bothered me. Like, some people are smooth. Some people are smooth movers, smooth operators. Shout out Sade. But, like, no one is like, that's just not a real thing. I don't think. Like, some people are real chill and reserved and like only say what comes to their mind at the right time in the right way out loud. And like, it's beautiful and they're cool and they're interesting. And I'm a fan of a lot of those people. But I just feel like you can really tell when it's forced and it comes across as just being disingenuous and like being a fucking douchebag. So shout out that guy. I hope he's doing great. I hope he never hears this because I'm not trying to like be an asshole, but also I'm not like, and that's why I'm not saying any names. It's like I'm not singling that person out saying they're a bad person. I just think that part of it is a little bit like I'm the coolest. Look how cool I am by me acting and pretending to be cool even though no one actually acts like this. It makes me laugh thinking like, your internal monologue. Like if I were to act like I was just acting, but my internal monologue was how I speak, which is actually how I talk to myself constantly. What a tortured existence that would be of like, hey, my head being like, make sure you say that cool thing you thought to say a couple minutes ago. And then like outwardly being like, this is just what it is. Like, just shut the fuck up. Oh boy, oh boy. Oh Danny boy, the pipes are calling. Given all this stuff, the Yankees are off to another reason why I should just be happy. I just need to be happy. The Yankees are off to a historic start. And pet peeve, by the way. It's an historic, but I feel like it should be a historic. You know, you're supposed to say an idea, an apple. You know, if there's a vowel that starts the next word, it's an an, not an a. But it's an historic. Like the Yankees are off to an historic start. Not the Yankees are off to a historic start. I hate that. And also on that same subject, when you abbreviate NFL or MLB or NBA, you don't say you say you're technically supposed to say a NFL player, a MLB player, but the way you pronounce that acronym is a vowel sound. So to me it should be an MLB player. An NFL player. God almighty. Yo, I'm fucking nuts. I'm sorry. But, like, these things go through my head. And I'm just saying it's another thing that I should be nothing but happy about. The Yankees are off to an historic start. They're doing great. They just actually blew a lead and blew the game against Cleveland, but they won the series. 5th series in a row to start the year. No big deal. It's just another thing that I have, like, everything around me is great, and I just can't accept it. Like, I don't know. It's not even that I can't accept it. It's not like I'm like, this isn't enough. I know that it's more than enough, but it just still is not, like, registering in my head to lead to the happiness that I deserve to have. So that's a bummer, but I have faith that it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. I'm going to figure it out. You know. But it's difficult at the moment. It's very difficult. And I'm not being like, meh. I'm just saying, you know, I talked about it last episode, like how your ego has so much to do with the problems you face. But this isn't that. Like, it's because to me, that's like you're not being self-aware type of problem. or like when your like anxiety and stuff is coming from things that are related to your ego being overinflated, it means you're not being self-aware. I'm hyper self-aware. I'm super fucking aware. I know that like my like day-to-day issues that I might encounter don't are nothing compared to real fucking issues. But that's the thing. It's not even about day-to-day stuff. It's about like my literal like consciousness in general is just like on crystal meth or something. I don't know. It's crazy. It makes me feel cuckoo. I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to feel that way. I just want to be happy and enjoy my shit. And I know that like whatever, it's not going to be like all the time great and perfect, but like this has been a prolonged period of it being really tough, and it's like, dude, why are you putting yourself through this? This is crazy. What are you doing? Figure it the fuck out. Dude, this podcast helps me so much. It's crazy. I haven't talked to anyone today, but in general, like my inner thoughts and shit today were very dark and low. And like the second I just started opening up and talking, that's why I want this podcast to exist. To go back on what I was saying earlier, like I do get something out of just brain dumping all this stuff at least once a week. And like obviously doing it to a therapist would be even more beneficial. But that's why the Discord channel, it's like I've gotten so much out of just talking to myself in the air, in the open. But when you actually get to discuss this stuff with other people, it's tenfold as helpful. And that's why I want the Discord channel to be a thing, because it's just a place for you to talk about it. Like you don't need to be dwelling on it constantly. You shouldn't dwell on it constantly. But in a moment where you need to be like, yo, hey, other people who go through this stuff, this is how I've been feeling. Isn't that wild? Have you had experience with this? Whatever. We just had someone comment that they recently put on medication, and like I have a long history with it. I've been on it. I've been off it. All that stuff. I was on it for a long period of time, so I felt like I had a perspective that that could maybe be helpful to this person, and I think it was. And it's like that's what it's about. So comment below. Don't forget if you want to join the Discord. It's not like it's a constant like barrage of mental health shit to your phone. You don't need that. But people every once in a while are interacting there and be like, this is what I'm dealing with. This is what, I've said it before. You get it. But join it. Is there a worse feeling? This is a funny thing. This is a funny one. Let's bring it back lighthearted. We've done enough on the mental health today, don't you think? Can we just laugh together? Christ almighty. Jesus. Is there a worse feeling? Bring it in closer. Let me ask you, is there a worse feeling than being in a conversation with someone and starting to tell a story, and then the story gets interrupted and something happens where the attention is shifted away from the two of you? Maybe you're waiting in line at a restaurant, right? Or maybe you're waiting in line at a restaurant and you're just chit-chatting, waiting in line at a restaurant, waiting to go to the table. And so you're like, oh, this thing happened, and this and this and this. And then the host or hostess comes and like, your table's ready for you. And now you're immediately like, all right, the story wasn't that great to begin with. I was just making small talk because that's what you do as a person. Apparently that's what you're supposed to do. And now, like, I know they know the story is interrupted. I know they know that I have to wait for them to be like, so what were you saying? Because if I just go, so back to my really riveting story, I'm going to look like a fucking psycho. So I'm just not going to say anything. And then if neither of those things happen, there's just going to be like a 15-second awkward pause of like, all right, what does one of us say now to continue the conversation? The story wasn't even good to begin with. It wasn't a good story. And now, like, the ending, the lack of payoff is just now prolonged even more. That's the worst. Everyone knows that feeling. It happened to me recently. Can you tell? It was funny. That was funny. There's only been like 3 stories ever worth being told in the history of in the history of humans. So for your one of the billion of the not of those, okay, let me try to say that again. So for your story that's not one of the 3 that's actually worth being said out loud to be interrupted, just prolonging the non-payoff of the end of the story is like the worst feel. Like every person has been through that where like I shouldn't have even opened my dumb mouth. It wasn't a good story. I don't even know how to finish it. Do I finish it? It's too late now. But then also you're like, but like what I say does matter. It's this weird thing we do as people. We're weird creatures, people. You know that? Very strange. I've been studying a lot of other creatures recently. We're the weirdest of the bunch. Oh, say, can you see? I played these chords earlier, but I think they've been cool. Um, I keep every time I set it down on a piano recently. This is what I keep playing, and then uh huh. Reminds me of little Beatles-ish types of chords. I'd written to something to it. What was it again, dude? It was oh, yeah. Haven't sang today or warmed up, so this might sound like I haven't done those things. It's like in woo ha woo ha until we meet again. Ah, fuck. No, man. Until we meet again, I hope that you can find what you've been looking for. Something like that. It's been interesting the last couple months to like really refine the way I've been writing songs and like not consciously refine it, but like it's just been like molding into a way that like really works for me, and that's been cool. Like I used to only sit down and start mashing at the keyboard and being like, what works? And like now recently it's been like, if I have a thought in my head, I'll just write it down. And then when I sit at a keyboard, it could be a jumping off point to the lyrics. Like that's what like what was that other song? Shit, I'll never remember it and I'll just butcher it. This has to be dreadful to listen to. I'm very sorry. But that happened to me recently where like what I just played was kind of this chord pattern, and I had written down on my phone 2 weeks earlier like what if all the memories are already made. Very dark and melancholy. I'm sorry. So I ended up, but it was like a 30th birthday thing of like my 20s are over. What if this is it for making memories? Like I've had tons of incredible times, especially the party phase of your life where like it's okay to go out and act a fool a little bit here and there, especially in your 20s and stuff. And it's like, what if all of that is done? Like, would that have been enough? Did I really maximize it as much as I could have? And obviously, it's not always easy to like convey all of those things that I just said in one sentence of like, what if all the memories are made? But then I was at the computer like making a song, making a beat or something, and I was like, oh, this fits perfectly for this pattern. And so I started to make that song. So it's just been cool to like kind of change up how I've been writing songs recently. And that song's pretty sick. And my voice sounds great. Not to toot my own horn, but like I'm a better singer now than I ever been, which is cool. What if I can't remember things. That's how it goes. What if all the memories are made? But what's the next one? I'm sorry. I'm sure it's very annoying to hear me struggle through, but it is that. It's like, what if all the memories are made? Fuck you. Oh yeah. So it's what if all the memories are made and it's too late? Would this be enough of a life I've made? Or would I hate all that I've done and all the mistakes I've made? I'm afraid. Something like that. Ba-doo-doo. Going to my hometown again soon. One of my two hometowns. I'm sure all my friends will hate that I said that. Whatever. I'm from two places. Cry. I'm going to the one I spent most of my life, which is going to be great. It's going to go this is exactly how it's going to go. It's going to be an amazing experience, and then it's going to be depressing that it's not at all like it was the last time I was there 8 years ago. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm a big like reflector, and I know it's not good to be too stuck in the past or the future, and I try my best to keep it in the moment, but it's like fucking impossible sometimes. And sometimes it's helpful to snap back in the moment for me by like going to places like my hometown, or like going to places that have mattered to me, whether it be mentally or like physically visiting them. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be cool. But I think everyone who's ever left their hometown knows the feeling of going back and being like, "What?" I remember one time there's like a classic restaurant in my hometown. Shout out Charlie's. And I went there after a few years, and like it was an old school burger joint. And the menus have always been the like slidey tile things, you know? And like they changed to electronic like TV screen menus, and I was appalled, and I was like 25 being like, what is this? But that's a very small thing versus like, oh, all these roads are paved and there's 10 new fucking Walmarts and stuff. So that'll be whatever, but generally it'll be great to see people I haven't seen in years and kind of reflect a little. I like every time I'm in the area, I love to like go by the high school and like go by my old house, all that stuff. Just nice to me. I constantly need to remind myself where I've been to remember where I'm trying to go and to appreciate where I'm at. So something like visiting my hometown is a nice way of doing that, to remember like I was once a young stoner who like fucking hated reality and his life, but always knew he wanted to pursue this one thing. And now I'm 30 years old and like I'm doing it. And sometimes in the moment I like lose that, and I'm so caught up on like what's the next thing? How do I push it? And obviously I want to push it. I'm nowhere near where I want to end up. But like man oh man, if I haven't like achieved a bunch of the stuff that I set out to already, it's like maybe I need to just accept that I currently am already living my dream. It's just, it's ongoing forever. It'll never quote unquote be enough. I'll always want more. And that's okay. I think that's okay to like push yourself to be great. I think that's actually super healthy and positive. But it shouldn't come at the expense of any enjoyment of the current. So I'm looking forward to going back home and being like, this is where I'm from. I don't know. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, dude. Gotta get this shit under control. I'm sure I'm not the only one. And like, I know that sometimes it's like, it's just tough. It's not, again, for the billion trillionth time. God, I say that a lot. It's not that I'm anxious about any one thing in particular, which is the most frustrating part of it. Because it's like, I know where, like, I don't know what to say. It's not like I'm anxious about this memory, or like, all right, I'm not like super sad that my dad passed away. Obviously I am. But I'm saying like that's not what I'm anxious about. I'm just anxious. So it's not like I can like sit and like be like, all right, let me look at old pictures or like videos and have a little cry about him or something, and then, pick my shit up and get moving. It's like it's none of those kinds of things. It's just like a lingering thing of everything, I guess. And I just don't know how much of it is like going through stuff and not dealing with, like, I don't necessarily think it's like undealt with trauma. I'm sure that I know that I didn't properly heal from certain things that I've gone through, but also like the type of anxiety I'm dealing with right now is not that at all. But now that I think about it, that's kind of what they say, that like you're by not dealing with trauma properly, you like fuck up your nervous system to like now perceive everything as a threat. And I think maybe that's where I'm at with it. So I need to like go to therapy so I can learn how to combat that and not have that be my like default. Literally, I love music. Even like obviously, you know that. Making music is my favorite thing. And even sometimes making music, I'll like stare at a waveform. A waveform is, a piece of audio on the computer, and it will tweak my brain out that like that's what sound looks like. You know what I mean? Now, if I was a 16-year-old and I was high and I was like, "Yo, that's what sound looks like." That's fine. That's funny, and it's like that's a trippy thing. But to be sober and to be an adult man and to be like, "That's what sound looks like." That's scary. Like it's not. It's not scary. That's just, it is what it is. Like, and that's another part of the like feeling crazy thing, where it's like I know it's nothing to be worried about, but every little thing has been setting me off recently, of like, whoa, that's kind of interesting. And then interesting for some reason is being perceived in my brain as like a threat. And it's not threatening. It's just interesting. Anything that like, because I'm hyper perceptive of everything around me, anything that's not like a given, like, oh, this is what's going to happen next in this next second, is like, anything that comes out of the blue or is jarring has been like a big trigger for me recently, which is annoying. Like, I don't want to be sensitive to this kind of stuff. No, and again, nothing against anyone who is, like, I get it. But it's like, I know I shouldn't be. It's not like I'm afraid because I'm afraid. I'm not afraid of anything like that. It's just like, it just keeps fucking happening. And it's a bummer. I was gonna talk about the J. Cole, Drake, Kendrick thing. I don't care. I'm not. I don't want to be a hip hop commentary podcast because I think it's kind of whack. Not whack. Not whack. Actually, not whack. It's just not what I want to do as an artist. I'm an artist. Let me look at it from an artist perspective. But to give my quick little recap of it, I love J. Cole. I fucking love him. I love Kendrick. I love Drake. So I hate all of it. I don't want any of it to happen. I've talked to people. It's a cool way to say it, and I understand, and like I partially agree. Like, it's good for the sport. Hip hop has always been a kind of, a look how great I am type of art form, which is strange because in most forms art should never be about competition, but in hip hop it's always been something that has pushed the entire art form as a whole to be better. So like in that way it's cool, but I completely kind of understood J. Cole's perspective of like, this isn't me. I'm a grown ass man. I'm kind of like evolved mentally. I don't want to come at someone that I've only ever been cool with my whole career, you know? But then like I heard Drake's this song. Anyone who says it's bad is just being a hater. Like, he eviscerated everyone. I thought it was really good. None of them, that's the thing, like, none of them are really that good. Honestly, nothing will ever compare to Jay-Z and Nas. Ether is the best diss track of all time. And even, I always forget the name of Jay-Z's fucking record that he dissed Nas back on, but, like, it's also excellent. But, like, nothing will ever compare to that. And in general, maybe I'm a fucking little weakling, but, like, I don't want them to be doing this shit. I think it would be way better if Kendrick and J. Cole finally dropped the album together that they've always teased. That's more exciting to me than, like, mom and dad are fighting again. I don't want that shit. I've fucking dealt with that enough. So, who knows? Whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I love hip hop music. It's a huge influence on me, always has been. But like as I've gotten a little older and as I like my style has warped into like something way different where I rap a lot still cuz I'm the fucking greatest rapper of all time, but like it's very not hip hop music, like, to its core definition of what maybe classic hip hop is or what rap music is today, certainly not that. That like any of that side of the culture, like I don't really love that shit anymore. I even feel weird a little bit about bragging about how good I am at rapping, even though I've always have, and I always have talked about it in my lyrics and shit. But I don't know. Maybe there's a happy medium to it that I can lean into a little. That's the one area where I actually have successfully talked about how great I think I am, and instead of just hating everything I do and say. So maybe I should embrace it a little more. Maybe it would help my mental health. But anyways, sorry about the delay. Like I said, I've been fucking going through it. Plus, it was my birthday. Plus, I've been real busy. But I think we should be back to more regularly scheduled stuff. I'm just trying to do it. It's really hard, man. It's like it's hard to figure out the optimal way to do all of this stuff and do the things I have to get done on a day-to-day basis. And I know, not in a self-deprecating way. I know no one really cares right now, which is kind of nice. But I'm still trying to figure it out to where like I can create almost a machine that like is easy for me to operate and doesn't completely take away from all the other stuff I got to get done. So, you know, anyways, another new episode. What are you going to do? I'm 30. Who cares? Everything's great, but like also not at all at the same time. So that's where I'm at. I hope you're doing well. Take care of yourself. Uh, do right by you. Do something nice for yourself. Go to therapy. I gotta stop, but I gotta start living by my own advice because I always tell people that like before you do anything else, work out, drink water, eat good, go to therapy. And I'm doing three of the four of those things. Was that four things? But I'm not doing maybe the most important one. So I have to change that. I got to start this week. And now by saying it out loud to at least a few people on the internet, I am holding myself accountable and I'll have someone to live up to my own expectation to. That made no sense. All right. Thank you again for listening. See ya.